Today's video, I thought I would share some thoughts about the whole Generation Z. Now, in the line of work that I'm in, um, the Generation Z term does pop up quite a few times. Normally, it comes out in a negative fashion, where and I'm getting straight to the point here in this video. Try not to talk your guys' ear off too much. But the thing about the Generation Z, the way it's looked at, is that um, they lack the ability to be consistent when doing hard work. Attention span is a lot less. Um, Generation Z expects results right away for something that takes time um, for results to be given. They get bored quicker. They normally just want instant gratification when it comes to any aspect they're in whatever they're doing, be it work, be it something new that they have. Um, an example would be like the YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram stories, all those things. To what I hear is that those are instant. People don't want to spend time watching a video. For example, if I go past certain length of this video, most people are not going to watch it because it's basically more of a Generation Z behavior where you want to see something right away. Now, if you catch their attention in a shorts video, then they'll probably watch your full video, knowing what they're getting themselves into. But in a world of Generation Z, they've limited the amount of time they have. You think of yourself, okay, well, we all have 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour. We all have that. That's true. But what we do with that time is what determines how much time we have left. What we consider is important. Now, in my generation, if you have an hour to do something, you normally spend your time with zero distractions and just focused on that one topic for 1 hour until you get it done. To what I noticed with this new generation is that they have an objective to get done, but that incorporates time for them to check their social media, time for them to check their messages, their instant messages, time for them to check out a quick a short reply to a comment they've gotten in whatever platform they're in. Are they an influencer? Are they thinking, how am I gonna display what I'm doing right now and show it to everybody else, kind of to show like a type of self-worth? So now, I'm not talking bad about Generation Z. I'm talking about issues that I've heard have come up for their generation. So in order to tackle a realization of what Generation Z is, you need to point out how they're being observed. And a lot of these statements come from Generation Z, of things that they are doing. So now, again, I'm not gonna really dive into the whole psychology behind it. I'm kind of just gonna give a brief overview. So, Generation Z. Here's the thing. I mean, obviously, like, I'm not saying you gotta cut them some slack. I'm just saying that they're coming into this game differently than when we came into this game of life. So, Generation Z, at the moment that they they've started the realization of what they gotta do. A lot of the inconveniences we've had in the past, we no longer have. Things are a lot more convenient now for us. Let's take, for example, you want to eat something from, I don't know, let's just say you want to eat something from a sushi place, I don't know, 5 miles away. Back when I was younger, if my if my mom was using the car or she was at work, I had no form of transportation. I would literally have to call somebody and see if they would give me a ride, and it would have to be a plan, because not it's not just something that somebody's gonna say like, oh yeah, okay, Danny, I'll pick you up, we'll go get some sushi, I'll be there like in 5 minutes. That's not a thing back then. It was more like, oh well, I have this to do, I have this to do, I have this to do. We can probably go out, maybe like for dinner. Okay, whatever. At the same time, I remember text messaging wasn't that big of a thing. I know for a fact that I didn't even want to pay for text messaging if I knew I could just call somebody. Back in my back during my time, and I'm a millennial. I'm an early millennial, so if I wanted sushi, it might happen that day, or, and this is even counting the fact that I have the money to get sushi. Another would be maybe getting a taxi, driving over there, having the taxi wait for me, and then I bring that sushi back home if I want to eat at home, or I would go over there, eat it there. But what if I wanted to watch something at home, watch a movie, and I wanted to eat at home? Most likely, eating the sushi at the sushi place was more of a thing, where I would just bring it with me and waste time back then. So now look at our generation, is that we have Uber, we have DoorDash. Most places now deliver just to compete with other delivery services. Generation Z, one thing they think of. My son, one time, we wanted to get some dinner, and I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want to. I need to pick something up for dinner, and he's like, hey, why don't you just Uber something? Now, obviously, the things about using a third-party delivery service is that you got to pay for it. So, in my case, I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend money for that. Like if I can just go pick it up. I mean, if I'm from a small town and I can just drive 5 minutes away to get it, I'm going to get it. But at the same time, why would I want to do that if we can just make something that is, just as good. So a different way of thinking is that they want that food instantly, where in our generation, we have no problem with cooking what we're making, waiting for it, preparing to eat that meal. So again, it's an example. It's Generation Z is coming in with a different mindset. Things are more convenient now than they were during a few years ago when I was the age of my son. Right now my son is 15 years old, and I remember that things were different for me at the age of 15. I walked almost everywhere. If I want to hang out with a friend, they had no car, had no ride, I would just walk over there. 30 minutes of my time was spent getting to the location. We didn't have instant messaging. We didn't have a way to communicate with other people. Now my son talks to people in Australia, has a conversation with them, and they're online playing whatever they're playing. Whatever. I know it's not Fortnite. I know it's something else. Whatever it is that's going on now. So that's his generation. It's more convenient. There's a lot more technology now. A lot more tools that can actually make our life easier. A lot more ways to start a business. There are a lot more. I mean, I'm here on YouTube, and in most cases, YouTube is already considered old. Uploading a video to stream on YouTube is not something new. Nowadays, for this newer generation, I don't know what this newer generation is called. I think it's Generation Alpha. I'm not sure, but now there's the use of AI. Now Generation Z is entering the world of AI. And I'm not going to really express my opinion about AI right now, because I'm pretty indifferent. I don't know too much about it to have an opinion. But I do know that Generation Z has a better hold on how to use these new technological tools. So from a management's perspective, when I look at new Generation Z employees wanting to enter the workforce, one thing I recommend for a lot of you is to acknowledge the strength. Generation Z, it does come with a different mentality. They come with a mentality of wanting to get things done quicker, which obviously things do require patience, but they might come in with a type of knowledge, with a resource that can actually help with that. You know, they can tell you like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you, if you run your own business, why don't you put your business on here? Why don't you put it on Google search? Why don't you have people review your business? Why don't you go on to some Survey Monkey and have people survey your business so you know what you're lacking. These are tools that they've been using from a very young age. I mean, my daughter right now, she's 7, but she learned the alphabet at the age of 3 through I don't know, Cocoa Melons, and through having her own little tablet. Now we say, well, you know what? They don't go out too much. They're not out doing physical activity. Well, a lot of the parenting has to do with the fact that maybe because of the convenience of technology, we give them that entertainment so we can get other things done while they're entertained, versus us playing with them and having spending time with our kids, and watching them run around, take them to the park. I mean, I know right now my kids tell me, like, they want to go to the park, they want to play, they want to do this. They do want physical activity. It's just that little by little, if you're always giving your kids technology to kind of like hold them off while you go out there and get things done. Because I understand, I mean, we live in a busy world, and in most cases both parents are usually working nowadays. We tend to use this technology to our convenience. We've learned that we can that our kids can stay still while watching something on the iPad, and not only that, back then, what my mom would do is she'd get me either Legos, or she would get me a piece of paper, and I would just draw. I would just put my imagination to the paper. Though it's not saying one is better than the other. It's just saying that our new generation is coming with a different set of tools that maybe our generation doesn't fully understand yet, and we can use that to our advantage. So it's not to bring Generation Z down; it's to find out what their purpose now is. Because here's a pretty depressing thing, and again, this comes from me, is that I find this form of depressing is that I feel we are meant to create. We're born with this necessity to create, to adapt to something that's happening. So during my generation, I know that a lot of things were being created. Social media was not even a thing yet. The internet wasn't as fast as we have it now. We things were still being created while I was growing up. We're all a part of that. We're all a part of seeing what we bring to the table in order to create for this new generation. What can we create? So Generation Z comes in with a lot of things already created. They're looking for that purpose, like, well, this is already created. Somebody already created this. Somebody already made the internet quick. Somebody already use technology to make things convenient. Third-party delivery services already exist. You know, it's already created for somebody to talk to somebody across the world. A lot has been created already, and that's also depressing, because now they're asking, what are they supposed to do? So this is where our generation needs to connect with their generation and say, hey, you know what? You gotta look for it. You gotta find what it is that your purpose is. You gotta adapt. That's what we did. We adapted to things changing. They came in when things were already changed. So hey, you know what? Whatever new is happening, adapt to that. Whatever's very convenient, work with it. Part of my job is to introduce the Generation Z into an older workforce type of mentality. Because I don't work with technology. I work more hands-on with customer service. Where customer service, I mean, it's the same, but it has evolved. And teaching the new generation how to survive And their survival is not physically. It's not like they're gonna work themselves to the bone. Their survival is more mental. How are you mentally going to interact with somebody else? How will you survive a disagreement? How will you survive a dispute with an angry customer? Those type of things. So, you know, you got to find out what they bring to the table, and then see if you can find a way to have them use it on their day to day, while they evolve into a good employee, a good leader at some point. Remember, we all come in with struggles. I mean, people thought, as millennials, our older generation thought we were the weird ones. So, you know, but I do find this a negative backlash on Generation Z and their lifestyle. Well, it's because, I mean, what else do they have? You know, they came into this. Now, I'm not making excuses for them. I'm not saying like they can have bad behavior. I'm just saying, that's what they understand first. So we need to catch them to make sure we help them understand, how to behave with having all these advancements now. What's the correct way? Build character. What is character? They might not even know what character is. If both parents are working and the kids are at home by themselves watching TV, who's gonna build that character in them? What activities are you putting them in where it helps them build a character, helps them understand that hard work is a part of life, regardless of how it's presented? Is it physical hard work? Is it mental hard work? Is it pushing your imagination? That is also hard work as well. They got to understand that